ready for Madness Returns. I loved the original Alice years ago and had been pining for a sequel since the twist was unveiled. So at midnight on release night, I was standing in a Walmart trying to differentiate myself from the people there for Duke Nukem Forever, ready to yell, "Shut up and take my money!" at the cashier. By the time the seemingly never-ending credits rolled, I counted myself among the disappointed. American McGee is the designer behind the Alice series and also founded the developing company Spicy Horse, which really shit the bed on this one. Plot-wise, the game is okay. We're back with Alice, she's out of the asylum, spoilers, and she's receiving psychiatric help, but Wonderland is a giant mess. The first half of the game is spent trying to regain sanity and order in her mind, and the second half is a quest to discover who really set the fire that killed Alice's family. Beware, chapters are not properly balanced. Chapter 1 took 2 hours to complete, and with 6 chapters in this game, I assumed this title would take me around 12 hours, but it only required 8. There is only one real boss fight, and it's the whole of the final chapter and lasts a whopping 15 minutes. Talk about anticlimactic. There are a lot of design elements I didn't like about this game. Immediately I noticed that Alice doesn't have an animation to turn herself from left to right. Most of the environments aren't platformable in any way. You have a very linear path set ahead of you and there isn't any room for your own exploration with invisible walls blocking non-interactive items. Collision boxes are huge for some objects, so don't assume you can just barely glide by something hanging in midair, and believe me, you spend a lot of time jumping and gliding about. Alice can triple jump and has a short gliding period after each of the jumps. The plot leads you to some major characters like the Caterpillar, the Mad Hatter, and the Queen. You get the idea, but the amount of time you actually spend talking to, or even looking at these characters you fought so hard to see, is severely brief.
Find the Hatter, Alice. He knows more about different than you.
Throughout gameplay, you'll discover weapons to assist you during the trek through Wonderland. By the end, you'll have the Vorpal Blade and the Hobby Horse, both short-range weapons, the Teapot Cannon and the Pepper Grinder, both long-range weapons, and the Clockwork Bomb. Unfortunately, you can run through this entire game using only the Pepper Grinder and be successful. Also adding to your arsenal is Alice's ability to shrink down at any point in time to get through small keyholes. Madness Returns is repetitious. It's broken up only by the progressive addition of new bad guys and the absolutely gorgeous environments. The feel of the game wasn't creepy or scary at all. The plot is definitely not for children, but getting from beginning to end is something that even an 8-year-old wouldn't find tough. Puzzles are non-existent save for a few slider puzzles that are solved in 5 moves at most, and the same amount of chess puzzles in which knights do not act like knights. At any point in time, you can shrink down and acquire environment clues that are scrawled everywhere. It's literally impossible to be lost in Wonderland. The minigame suffered disjointing problems with the overall game. It's not so bad when Alice has to navigate her way down a slide, avoiding the fiery coals, but the doll head navigation was the worst, with its rage-inducing camera angles and awful overall concept. Other side games included pointless 2D platforming, a side-scrolling shooter that feels more like a time filler, and a moment where Alice becomes a giant. I wanted this to be more challenging in a thoughtful way, but Madness Returns is incredibly easy. Even on the hardest setting, this game is still a no-brainer to complete. On a basic level, this game is fun. Linear, shallowly designed, and a little fun. But I want more out of my games. Unfortunately, the way this was all put together is just careless. One of the only benefits of this title is that it comes packed with the original Alice game, originally not available on consoles, but I don't think it warrants a $60 price tag. If you're still curious about this title or would just like to have a copy of the original Alice, my suggestion is to wait. Wait until this title gathers dust on retail shelves and the price drops to something more appropriate, like $20. You might not feel as cheated like I did.
I'm not terribly musical, but you seem out of tune.
It's not my fault. I can't hear my notes.